You know that feeling, right? You have this brilliant idea for an app, or maybe a project at work, and you're so excited. But then it just fizzles out. Or even worse, it descends into total chaos. It happens all the time. But what if I told you there's a secret roadmap, a proven path that the pros use to turn those great ideas into actual finished products? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and explore that map together. So let's just get right to the heart of it. Why? Why do so many great ideas, projects with so much potential just completely fail when you try to make them real? I mean, we've all seen it happen. A project starts with a ton of buzz and then just falls apart. So what's the deal? What's the common thread here? Well, it almost always boils down to a handful of classic mistakes. Things like completely misunderstanding what the user actually needs, or, not even bothering to involve them in the first place. And then you end up building something that's a total nightmare to use. Look, these aren't just random bits of bad luck. They're symptoms of a project that's flying blind with no map to guide it. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution, right? The good news is it's not about working harder or throwing more money at the problem. It's about working smarter. It's about having a roadmap for success, a structured, proven path that successful projects always follow to get from point A to point B without getting lost. And that very roadmap has a name, the System Development Lifecycle, or as everyone calls it, the SDLC. Now, I know, that sounds super corporate and a little dry, right? But just forget the name for a second and think of it like a GPS for your project. It's this methodical process, a series of clear, logical stages that are specifically designed to steer you away from all those potholes we just talked about and guide you straight to your destination, a successful launch. So this whole journey, this SDLC roadmap, is broken down into 6 main stages. First, you have the spark, the recognition of need. Then you do a feasibility study to see if it's even a good idea. After that, it's analysis, design, implementation, that's the building part, and finally, maintenance. Simple as that. Let's break down what actually happens at each of these stops. All right, first up, stages 1 and 2. This is all about the idea itself. I'm talking about laying the foundation. It's about making absolutely sure you're starting on solid ground before you even think about writing a single line of code or building anything. And this is such a crucial distinction to make. Stage 1, recognition of need, is all about the what. What is the problem we're trying to solve here? What's the opportunity? The whole point is to walk away with a super clear statement of what you're trying to do. But then stage 2, the feasibility study, immediately follows up with the really tough question, okay, but is this problem actually worth solving? This is where you do your homework, a cost-benefit analysis, to make sure the whole thing makes business sense before you spend a single dime or 1 hour of your team's time. Okay, so we've confirmed we have a great idea and it's actually worth pursuing. Awesome. Now we get to the fun part, the blueprint phase. This is where that abstract idea really starts to take on a real, tangible shape, just like an architect's blueprint for a house. So in stage 3, analysis, you basically put on your detective hat. Your job is to figure out absolutely everything the system has to do. What are all the requirements? The result here is what's called a logical model. Think of it as a map that shows how all the information is going to flow and connect. Then in stage 4, design, you switch hats. You become the architect. You're no longer asking what, you're defining how. How specifically are we going to build this? You'll come up with detailed hardware specs, a real implementation schedule, and, this is huge, you get formal user approval before a single brick is laid. Now, a really critical part of that whole design stage is something called prototyping. And honestly, this is like a project superpower. This is how you avoid that absolute nightmare scenario of spending a year building something only to find out nobody wants it. Instead of some big reveal at the end, you get into this really smart cycle. You identify what the users need, you build a quick working model, a prototype, and then you put it in their hands. Let them play with it, get their feedback, and then you revise it. You just keep repeating that loop until it's perfect. This basically guarantees the final product is what people actually want and need. So you've got your blueprint, it's been approved by the users. Now it's time for the main event, stages 5 and 6, the launch. This is where all that planning pays off. It's time to actually build this thing and release it into the wild. And here's something a lot of people forget. The work is not done at launch, not even close. Stage 5, implementation, that's the big go live moment. You're training the team, handing out the user manuals, and flipping the switch. But stage 6, maintenance, is the long game. This is about asking day after day, week after week, is this system still doing what our users need it to do? It's about evolving, supporting, and making sure the system stays valuable and keeps users happy for years to come. The launch isn't the finish line, it's the starting line. All right, let's bring this all home now. We started this whole conversation by looking at all the painful reasons why great projects fail. So now let's connect the dots and see exactly how this SDLC roadmap gives us the keys to success and prevents those disasters. And this, right here, is the real payoff. This is the aha moment. Remember those vague requirements that kill projects? Well, stage 1 solves that by forcing you to create a clear scope and objectives. Worried about users not being involved? Stage 4 makes you get their formal approval on the design. Poor user training? Stage 5 has a dedicated training program built right in. And what about building a system that nobody finds user-friendly? That prototyping cycle we talked about in stage 4 completely nips that problem in the bud. You see? The SDLC isn't just some abstract theory. It's a direct, practical solution to the most common project killers out there.
So there you have it, the system development lifecycle. It's not just a bunch of boring process steps. It's a proven roadmap. It's a guide to take your brilliant idea and turn it into a successful reality. It's how you stop building things that you think people want and start building things that they actually want and need. So now that you have the map, the only question left is, what are you going to build?